Hello, my name is Amy Heyse, and here on my channel I do Catholic art tutorials for artists of all ages. And in today's tutorial, I'm going to be walking you through how to draw our new Pope, Pope Leo XIV. I thought it was so cool that just a couple months ago we got to see him elected, and I loved watching it on TV. And I'm going to show you how to draw him using simple lines and simple shapes. For this tutorial, all you need is a piece of paper, a pencil, and something to color with. So the first thing that we are going to do for our Pope Leo XIV is we are going to draw his head. And I just did a simple oval shape for mine. So close to the top of my paper, using my pencil, I'm going to start out by sketching in that oval shape. And feel free to make any changes that you want to your drawing. It does not have to look exactly like mine. It's just about having fun, getting some practice in. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to be putting in his collar. So you're going to put one little line on the left side of his head, one little line on the right side, and you're going to connect those lines together with a curve that kind of looks like a smile line. We're going to put two up and down lines inside of that collar, like so. And then we are going to be putting in his shoulders. So we're going to put in some diagonal lines on each side of this collar. So I'm going to put one line that comes over and towards the left, and another line by the collar that comes over and towards the right. We're going to finish up this little cape. It's called a Pellegrina, and we're going to add some lines on the left and the right side, this time angling down. So I'm going to put a line that comes down on this left side, and I'm going to stop, and I'm going to do the same thing on this right side, making sure that my lines kind of match up at the bottoms. And you can make that little cape as long or short as you need to for your drawing. We're going to do this inside edge of the little cape. So starting at this little square part of the collar, I'm going to have a line that comes down, and I'm going to stop it kind of like the same length here on this left side. I'll leave a little bit of space, and I'm going to draw a line that comes down at a slight angle and also kind of matches my other lines. To finish up that cape, I'm going to do a wavy line. That way it looks like the fabric has a nice little flow to it. So I'm going to move my pencil up and down just a little bit and connect it. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm leaving a space there, and I'm moving my pencil up and down, connecting the ends for that cape. Next, we're going to be working on Pope Leo XIV's arms. So we're going to start off with this inner line for his sleeves. So starting at his little cape over here on this left side, I'm going to draw a line that comes down and in a little bit like this. And on this right side, I'm going to do a line that comes down and in a little bit like that. For the back parts of his sleeve, the line's going to come down first before going in towards that center of the body. So I'm going to start a little bit inside the cape, do a little line that comes down like that. And then I'm going to do a slight diagonal line that kind of matches the same direction as my first line. And we're going to connect those two lines with a slight curve to create that opening of his sleeve. So starting a little bit in on his little cape, I'm going to do a line that starts off by coming down just a little bit for that elbow, and then comes down and in, matching the angle of that top part of the sleeve. And I'm going to connect them together with a slightly curved line. To do his hands, we're going to start with this little hand over on the right side of the paper. So I'm going to do a short line near the top of the sleeve and a short line near the bottom opening of that sleeve. For the hand that's in front, we're going to do a curve, kind of like the big fingers of your hand in a mitten. So kind of starting by that sleeve, I'm going to do a curved line that comes over and then back. So it's kind of like a sideways U, like this. And we can see a little bit of a thumb. So near this top opening of the sleeve, I'm going to do another little line, and I'm going to connect it to that hand over there. And I have a little gap here where my fingers didn't quite connect, so I'm just going to connect those together like so. To finish up these hands, we're going to add a couple lines for the fingers. There's going to be 3 lines that are going to break that hand apart into the big fingers. So I'm going to add 1, 2, 3 lines for those fingers. And we can see his ring, which I just did a little simple circle, like so. Next, we're going to do Pope Leo XIV's pectoral cross. So we're going to start off by drawing kind of like a big V to create that chain. So at the top where his collar is, I'm going to start off with the first part of my V and have that line come down and stop. And I'm going to do the other side of that V, starting over here by his collar and shoulder and drawing a line that comes down and connects. I'm going to draw his cross underneath. So I'm going to start off with a little line going side to side, a line coming down on each side, a line coming out, down, in, and then down one more time on each side. And I'm going to connect it at the bottom. Underneath that cross, we're going to put a curved line, kind of like a smile line, and that's going to be the top part of his sash. So underneath that cross, I'm going to put my curved line. So it's kind of underneath the little cape and the cross, like so. And to finish up that top part of his body, we can see this line right here for his cassock robe. So right underneath the square of the collar, in between the cross, you're going to draw a line that comes down, and you'll just stop it when you touch your cross. If you have a little bit of space underneath your cross, you can continue that line down until it touches that top part of his fascia sash. We're going to do 2 lines that come down to create the length of the legs of his body. So starting a little bit under the elbow, you're going to draw a line that comes pretty much straight down your page, and you'll make that line as tall or long as you want that body to be. We're going to do a matching line on this other side, so starting kind of near the elbow, inside a little bit, you're going to draw another line that's going to come down the paper, and you want it to have a similar angle and match the length that you did on the bottom. And feel free to make any changes or adjust those lines as needed. But once you get the line as long as you want it to be, we're going to connect it with a smile line. So I'm going to put my curved line in between these 2 straightish lines, and that is going to create the bottom part of his cassock. In the middle of that bottom part of his robe, underneath his hands, you're going to draw a straight up and down line that starts at his hands and comes all the way down to that bottom curved line. So we're going to finish up this little sash fascia right here, and it's going to start near the sleeve of his hand. So we're going to do a line that's going to come down straight, And a little more than halfway down, you're going to stop and do a slightly curved line that's going to connect to that right side of his robe. Then underneath, we're going to put this fringe. So we're going to do a bunch of straight up and down lines underneath, as many or as few as you want, and then you'll stop when you hit the edge of his robe. Next, we're going to be working on his face. So we're going to start with his ears. So about the middle of the oval shape for the head is where we're going to put these ears. So I'm just going to put a slightly curved line, one on the left side and one on the right side, like so. And I'm going to create a hairline that kind of matches the curve of my oval head. It's like really close. So starting at the top part of the ear, you're going to do a little line inside of your oval shape that kind of matches the curve of your oval head. And that's going to create that little bit of hair that we see peeking out. Next, we're going to be working on his hat. It's called a zucchetto, and I just recently learned that the word zucchetto comes from the Italian word for a little pumpkin, which I just think is really cute and wanted to share. So we're going to do a curved line, so kind of matches the curve of the top of the head. So it's just a little line that's going to go right at the top of the head, like so, kind of all the way across the width. And then we have that little bump for the top part of the hat, kind of like a pumpkin stem, I guess. And when you add that on top, that finishes his little hat, his zucchetto. We're going to be putting in his eyes next. So I just did a really simple face. You can make any changes that you want to yours. But right about the middle of my oval shape is where I want to put these eyes. So I'm going to do a little circle for the eyes, like so. And I put a little curve, kind of like a frown line, to create the top of like the end of like an eyelid. So it's like a little curve, kind of like a frown, and I just put it directly above the eyes, like so. In between the eyes and the bottom of the chin, right about the middle, that's where I want to put a little curve. And this is going to be for the bottom of Pope Leo's nose. And I'm going to add a little line over here to kind of hint at the bridge of his nose. In between his nose and the bottom of his chin, I'm going to put his mouth. I'm just going to do like a simple smiling mouth like this. And I'm going to add a little curve on each side to create the edges of his mouth. So I'll put one here on this right side and one here on this left side. I'm going to put in his eyebrows. So when I did his eyebrows, they're kind of flat above the eyelid. And then there's like a little up and down line kind of curving up towards his forehead. If you want to give him a different look, that's okay. So above those eyelids, I'm going to do kind of like a straight line like this. But near the forehead, I want a line that comes up just a little bit on each side. And you can kind of curve those eyebrows as much or as little as you wish. I put just a little line right here in the forehead, just like a subtle little crease. And sometimes you see Pope Leo XIV wearing glasses, sometimes you don't. So I'm gonna leave that up to you, but if you wanna add glasses, here is how you would do it. In between his eyes, you're gonna put a little curved line for that bridge of the glasses. And then you're going to put in kind of like a big oval shape to create the part that goes around his eyes. And then if you have space, you can add those earpiece lines. So like kind of near the top of the glasses and connect it to his ears. And unless there's anything else that you want to add that I didn't show you, like maybe you want a Pope Mobile or the background of the Vatican, feel free to make any changes or additions that you want to yours. So when I color, I love to use markers, and I love to outline my pencil using pens like this, but you can use any art supplies that you have on hand. So go ahead and pick your favorite thing to color with. We'll work on coloring our Pope Leo XIV, and I'll see you in a little bit. I would love to see how your drawings turned out. Feel free to tag me on social media, and I'll leave some links below in the description if you'd like to support my channel. I want to remind you that you are loved. God loves you very much, and he loves your artwork very much. I'll see you in the next video.